So here we are, it's day 7. It's our first day at Song Mountain, Shaolin Temple.
The elevation of Mount Song is 5,000 feet, and the Shaolin Temple rests along the foot of it.
I would probably say that besides the day I was born, this is probably the most exciting day of my life for me. The ride up here was amazing. I have never seen streets lined with Kung Fu schools that have so many students in my entire life. And one of the big ones that we passed has 18,000 students.
And a lot of them had matching jumpsuits, so it was quite a sight to see a sea of blue or a sea of red out doing a few exercises in the morning. Shaolin literally means young forest, and it got that name because it actually was created in a spot where they had to clear out the forest, and the emperor had new trees planted around to landscape the area. So all of the new trees together created the concept of a young forest.
My name's Adam. This is Christy. We're going to Shaolin. As I was walking up to the Shaolin Temple, it was like 12 years of practice, 12 years of learning about a place and about an art and about a way of life, all came to this one moment. And I just looked up and I saw the writing and I knew what it said because I've learned it so many times, Shaolin Temple. And it was, like I said, this is probably one of the most amazing days of my life.
A sect of Buddhism is practiced here called Chan, which is something that Westerners might think of as Zen. It's the same thing. It's a complex mixture of both Taoist and Buddhist principles. The idea is that you cannot separate the body from the mind, and that both need to be toned and fit in order to reach spiritual enlightenment. The Shaolin Temple was built in 495 CE.
So back in 1928, there was a lot of fighting happening in this area, and the Shaolin Temple was burned down. It was almost completely destroyed.
It wasn't until Jet Li did his movie, The Shaolin Temple, in 1982, that money started coming in to rebuild all of the halls and rebuild the whole area there.
There's actually one hall in the back of the temple where it's one of the only ones that survived the fire. You walk in, and it wasn't actually the Buddha that was in the hall that caught my eye, but it was the ground. This is actually the hall where it was said that all the monks practiced. And these indentations in the ground are where they were said to have practiced this special technique called Qigong, which is where they would jump using really, really light power so that they can jump really, really high. But then when they come down, they use all the force. So it's really cool. You can see in the groundwork where they landed. There's like huge indentations.
One of the first halls, there were 4 kings that represented north, south, east, west, and as well as the 4 seasons. And they were meant to bring balance and harmony to the area and good harvest. And the thing that struck me the most was that the king from the south was red, as for heat in summer. The king for the north was blue for winter. It was really neat to look at how the creative way that they had those kings represented.
About 12 o'clock, we all were feeling a little bit hungry. And we noticed that some of the monk cooks had made baozi, which is like it's like a bun with vegetables inside. And so I went and I bought a couple bags, and we all had baozi for lunch, and it was the most amazing baozi that I've had this entire trip. I feel more powerful already.
The origin of Shaolin Kung Fu, there's lots of legends about how it came about. But one of the things that pretty much stands out is that Bodhidharma, who was an Indian monk who actually came over to China to see the emperor and to spread Buddhism. He found out that over at the Shaolin Temple, the monks were busy deciphering Buddhist texts from Sanskrit into Chinese. What happened was he learned that the monks would fall asleep during meditation since they didn't get a lot of physical exercise, since all that they did was study and translate. So he came up with some exercises for them to do. And it's said that through the evolution of these exercises in philosophy, Shaolin Kung Fu itself became born out of that. The Kung Fu here is not just physical, it's also mental, it's a philosophy, and they also study medicine, so it isn't just a martial art.
So as I expected, the Shaolin Temple is a very, very beautiful temple. The one thing I didn't expect was how many tourists were here and how kind of commercial it's become. Right when you walk in the temple, there's a lot of giant stone tablets and a lot of writing. And at first I thought maybe they were graves, but come to find out I was actually completely wrong. They are dedications to people who have donated money to Shaolin.
The Shaolin Temple brings quite a bit of money into this area. Ticket sales alone for a year total about $1 million. And additionally, with lodging and people eating, another $2 million come in. That's a significant amount of money. I'm really excited to finally be here at the Shaolin Temple. In my style of Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu is one of the pieces, and we learn about and talk about the Shaolin Temple when we study the history. And so it's especially interesting for me to see the place where it all started. We often talk about it being the birthplace of martial arts, the root, the core. I felt very overwhelmed and very honored to be able to get a chance to see this in my lifetime.
Tomorrow, I get to work out with the monks. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight because seriously, this is going to be awesome. Like, there's going to be bald guys with robes, like, flinging around. And I'm going to be doing it with them.
I'm really excited to be here. I'm very curious about how things will unfold. And we're supposed to train tomorrow with the monks, and I have a lot of anticipation for that.
Kung Fu with the monks tomorrow.